Welcome to Silver Linings Talk Show. And this episode we have Rachel Schemmerling, a holistic interior designer. Rachel fell in love with design at an early age, and she continued that passion through her schooling, obtaining a degree in interior design and hospitality management. I love that, Rachel. And I love that you have such a strong belief in historic preservation. You did something really cool in our town with that recently, right?
I did. We did a fundraiser for the 200-year-old Congregational Church.
And that sense of community is really, really important too. And I love that your passion with family and the serenity of a home has brought you to this holistic interior design.
Yes.
Now, can you explain exactly what holistic interior design encompasses?
Yes, so I call myself a holistic interior design consultant. And holistic interior design is, we focus more on the spiritual, physical, and mental wellness of the occupants. It's all about mind, body, and spirit, and supporting that and helping each of the homeowners feel that they can express themselves in their decor as well as how they live every day.
I think that actually embodies like the true meaning of home.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Absolutely. And so we are in the month of August, and as we know, we are heading back into school, and maybe a lot of people are heading back to work who have been home for so long. And certainly a question that I have for you is, what are some things that families can do to kind of help with that transition of back to school and making it more stress-free?
So I have some notes that I definitely want to go over talking about that very topic. So I think staying organized is really important. Mm-hmm. Clutter control is definitely top of the list. Mm-hmm. Designating a comfortable area for nourishment and meals, having a nice area that keeps the stress down on school mornings, or even getting ready and going off to college as well. It's keeping that area for meals, something like at the counter or a nice designated kitchen table, keeping meals central and family oriented. Creating self-sufficient systems is really important so that children can help themselves to getting their lunches ready or packing their own snacks, and whichever caregiver is there, it helps support them as well. Creating a command center, a dedicated desk area where children can come home and do their homework, and there's always an area where the calendar is placed and everyone knows what's going on and keeps everyone in good communication. And as always, good lighting in all of these areas. That's really important. And having a sustainable, eco-friendly type of furnishings is what's going to keep everyone organized and healthy.
So you created this this board for us today, and I would love to have you just highlight some of the things that you wanted to share.
Yes, so the reason I put this together was so you can kind of get an idea of how I work and what I provide with some of my design services. This is a mood board, and this is just really concepts at this point. But this is to kind of give you an idea about what you can do when after the kids have gone back to school, how you can create a nice quiet corner, an area to relax. And I wanted to talk about having that quiet corner with good sound control, a comfortable chair, good natural light, soothing colors, sustainable fabrics and finishes, low VOCs, nature inspired by art. These are all important, not just for the family, but for the parents and caregivers to have a quiet area to kind of decompress and go back to when the hustle and bustle. It keeps everyone happy when we're performing that self-care as well.
Nice. Thank you. I love the visuals.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
Now, does this plant qualify?
Absolutely. Plants always qualify. Having more plants in the home is definitely key to a healthy home.
Excellent.
All right. So how about in terms of creating a stress-free environment, what can the parents actually do in order to help de-stress?
So So again, like creating that quiet corner, just having a place to decompress, staying organized, and using, bringing in plants that's refreshing the air in the home, having good natural light, and creating that area where you can go back to and decompress and de-stress after. For everyone, it's for everyone's sake.
Do you think it's important to have spaces that are just not multi-purpose but solo purpose, or
exactly, yes,
is
I think,
that more intentional?
Having an area that's meant just for mom or dad or the caregivers is a nice way to kind of be separate from the family hustle and bustle. But it also, having an area, like I was saying, a designated desk area for the kids to have access to a nice easy spot to do their homework that supports them, so that they can ask questions and they're not maybe way up in their room, or they're not utilizing or dirtying up the kitchen table. It's nice to have an area where they can go to.
And one thing that I have seen with some of my clients is, with everybody being home for so long, that they've really been craving their own space. And one thing that they've loved to do is bring in their own individual personality and their own personal items. So I have seen clients with salt lamps.
Yes.
And just things that for them, like Buddhas, statues, things that just really resonate that inner peace and calmness.
Exactly.
So I think just bring in that your own personality too, and things that you love.
Candles, plants, always.
Yes.
Lots of woven natural materials, always a big part of that.
You mentioned VOC, low VOC. Now, can you just elaborate a little bit more on materials, like things, holistic wise, like how deeply you delve into the naturalness of the fibers and things like that?
So definitely natural materials. We want to stay away from some of the composites and petroleum-based products. We want to stay away from those. So yeah, VOCs are the volatile organic compounds, and they're in everything. They're in stains and paints and all type of finishes. So, and they do off gas. So having, just being aware of what is out there and shopping a little bit more consciously when you're purchasing items for your home is key, because that will keep you healthier in the long run.
So what are maybe some of your top healthy, sustainable, eco-friendly materials that you would suggest would be great to be in people's homes?
So natural materials like natural wools, leathers. You want to stay away from any of those composite materials for sure. Cottons, hemp, that's a big one. So there's a lot of them that we'd have to, kind of go through and figure out what would work best in the home for people.
When I think of like something natural, I'll think of like bamboo.
Yes,
like a bamboo flooring, something like that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, great. And I think it's wonderful that you're here today to be able to share some of these tips. And I wouldn't even call them trends. I think that they're lifestyle changes that can really positively impact mental, physical, spiritual wellness.
Exactly. Implementing that healthy living system at home is key to taking care of yourself and your family.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Good.
You may be surprised that it is not entirely your fault if there are any financial struggles or money struggles. Studies show that financial habits and behaviors can actually extend from our generational past and our parents. So this can mean that messaging and all these certain behaviors and thoughts have been passed generation to generation. The good news is that your financial story can have a different beginning starting now. And the end doesn't have to look just like your parents. And today we have a guest who is going to talk about this with us and share how we can start taking action. So today we are joined by Michelle Jacobik. She's an author, expert, and speaker on topics of money, mindset, and business. So welcome, Michelle.
Yay.
Thanks, ladies. It's so great to be here with you. Thank you so much for inviting me on. Let's dive right in.
Yes, we are so excited to have you. And first thing is, so many of us have found ourselves saying sometimes, I sound just like my parents. So especially when it comes to money. And is this actually true? And what are some examples that we may notice that are really impacting our lives that we may not be totally tuned into?
Yeah, so it's absolutely true, ladies, right? These little phrases that sneak out of our mouths or the sound bites that we hear in our heads, they often get imprinted both consciously and unconsciously, and they become part of our own financial DNA. Phrases like money doesn't grow on trees, or I'm just not very good with money, they often slip out of our mouths. We've heard them before, and many times we don't even realize that we're saying or even thinking them, right? And those are just a few common examples of mindsets that we may have learned at home that actually are having an impact on us and our financial well-being as an adult. And I think, it's relative because this is true of our parenting many times and our money, right? So how about you ladies? Do you have things that you've caught yourself saying that you were like, oh my God, I sound just like my mother or just like my father?
Of course. I've heard myself say before, we don't have the money for that. Like, well, why, then I catch myself and I'm like, well, maybe we do.
And I think I've said, well, why would I spend my money on that? Because, it's a value thing, right? Or that money's going to burn a hole in my pocket. There's another one, right? That one's kind of a stigma, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Dina, how about you?
I think mine right now would be about, can I afford that right now?
Yeah, for me too, I think is one of the things when we're like, because I said so, right? Yeah, like, well, why can't we? Because I said so. That's a parenting thing, right? Like we've heard that before, and it like shuts down our ability to be in our own mind of like, well, how is it possible? So, the truth is that there's both things that we hear where we can have a very negative connotation to them or a positive. And, when we hear them, they can be construed in any of those ways, positive or negative. For example, one of the things that I heard growing up, and I think because I dreamt really big and I always sort of like wanted big, was the money doesn't grow on trees, right? And so my young mind could have gone to scarcity, or it could go the other way, depending on how the message was received by the young person receiving it. In my mind, luckily, it went to, okay, I look outside, I get there's no money on trees. But I do remember my grandmother having a money tree. And it was like this tree that had these like clear, plastic things. And I thought, okay, well, money does grow on trees. So there was this like evidence that it did. But I could look outside and say, of course it doesn't grow on trees. Like I can see that. But what it did for me in my positive mindset, because I went there versus my brother went to like a scarcity mindset, was that if money doesn't grow on trees, then how can I create money, right? So my evolution of how I looked at creating money changed as I got older. But on the other hand, there's many people that heard money doesn't grow on trees that had a completely opposite effect in their life. And it led them into this place of scarcity, right? And how they react to money, and when they're feeling like there isn't enough, they immediately go back to that DNA that's been imprinted and leaves them feeling like money doesn't really grow on trees and I've got to be careful with it. I've got to figure out how to keep it. They're not thinking from a creation perspective. They're thinking of a limitation perspective, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm interested in this next question, actually. So you say that there are 4 words that you should never say at your family table or in conversations with your spouse, kids, or even your friends. What are they and why?
You know it, Ty. So I'm here to help you guys and your viewers improve everything from their mindset to their money making and their money keeping skills. And that all begins inside here and what type of money mindset we have. So to help viewers start to reset things and become more self-aware, I want them to make a commitment, including you guys, that you'll ditch these 4 words from your conversations for good. And they only come out of my mouth when I'm having a conversation like this, right? So the words are, and Dina, you said them, I can't afford that, or we can't afford that. Those 4 simple words plant us in a place of helplessness and victimhood. And quite honestly, when we say them, we've in many ways pre-decided right now and who we are in the future that something's not possible, right? When you use those phrases, you're actually cementing yourself mindset-wise right here in that place, and you're even impacting those around you with those words. Our partner, our kids that hear it, our coworkers, with the same stuck mindset. And I know that we can all do better and want better than that. So we just remove them and we go on a detox of those 4 words.
Okay, so you're suggesting that we ban the words, but when we shift our mindset, what should we use instead? Do you have any recommendations on maybe something completely different to say?
Absolutely. So, it's a few small shifts here that can make a big difference. So first, you try this. Instead of I can't afford that, you ask yourself, how can I make it happen? What opportunities am I not seeing that could make this possible? Or instead of focusing on what you can't afford yet, lean into what you can afford right now and what you can do within your current situation and your current budget. The small changes in how you ask questions and interrupt that pattern of thought are actually small changes in your mindset will have a big impact in your money situation, more than you can even imagine.
So what are some of those small shifts that really do make big impacts?
I love this question because this is like taking the money mindset piece, right, and putting it into motion in real life practice. And I want everybody to walk away from the conversation today knowing that the small changes in how you spend or save can actually lead to massive money wins. And I think for most people, they feel like it's an all or nothing, go big or go home. Like, if I can't do it, it's always, I'll wait until I can. And I want to disrupt that, right? It's actually quite the opposite. Here's 2 examples of what I mean. Maybe you think you can't save. And trust me, I thought that very early on in my life too. Like, I'll wait until I can. But the truth is that just by beginning, even if it's $20 a week, right? That $20 a week, which is what you can choose to do today, can become $200 a week, which then can become $2,400 a quarter, which then can become a life-changing financial nest egg. And then the other thing is, if you think about services, products, you might say you can't afford a personal trainer. Maybe your budget, though, is just telling you that you can't afford one every day or every week. But maybe, just maybe, you could begin with a private session once a month, right? If you learn to think in terms of small changes and inviting in things that you can do, things that are possible, you're activating the possibilities of what else you want to invite in the future. So you start with these small little changes instead of limiting yourself to the nothing. It's not an all or nothing, right? And I think that when you start to make small changes, you stay the course in those changes, your small wins will actually start to stack into bigger wins. And most importantly, before you know it, your mindset starts to shift into something that's possible.
I love that.
I know. I was just going to say that.
Mindset is
loved
good.
all of that.
Mindset is amazing.
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay, I have another question. Let's see. Can you share some resources that help create a better financial legacy for your family?
Yeah. So, I love to share tools. I think that, again, most importantly, it's remembering that our thoughts become things and that the content that we consume and that we put out to those around us really matters, right? If you want to change your financial DNA and your family's financial legacy, you've got to start there. The mindset is key. I'd love to share a resource that I think is super supportive strategically and mindset-wise to help you make that shift. And it's the Secret to Money app. You can put it right on your phone, and it has daily affirmations. It sends you fake money, which is like, well, what's fake money? It's the ability to be in the energy of when money comes, how would you spend it? So it has a giving perspective so that you're actually creating your ability to give, not just receive, which is, karma is always about giving and receiving. But it's the perfect blend of daily inspiration, positive money affirmations. There's a tracking space for money that you've manifested, but you didn't have to earn, like when you get a 30% discount off at the store. That's money that you saved or created, but you didn't necessarily have to go out and earn it. So I love that. I think that there's this very easy tool that I would love for all of your viewers to just invite in, check it out. It's a free app, and well worth it.
Oh, I feel like we've just barely, tip of the iceberg here. So I really would love for you to share how viewers can learn more from you, because I know they're going to want to tap into learning more.
Absolutely. So I share financial tips and affirmations and inspo on my Instagram, so viewers can come and follow me at Michelle Jacobik. And I also have a support community where viewers can learn more about that on my website. Again, it's just michellejacobik.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Michelle. It's been such a pleasure. You've really kind of shifted things around in my mind today. So I hope you have a fabulous day.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Wow, those were some amazing guests with some great information on mindset and comfort and de-stressing, right?
Yes. And I feel that it just flows so well that we first talked about how to create a home environment that is calming and peaceful. And then Michelle discussed about how to get in a good financial mindset so we can start, getting better with our finances. And I feel like both of those things lead right into this segment, which is now we can sleep better at night.
Exactly.
We have tips.
Exactly. And it's a great question to ask yourself, like, what is your relationship with sleep? So how do you sleep? I know I've had some restless nights myself and wake up at 3 in the morning only to look at the clock and now it's 4 and 4:30 and my mind's going crazy like, oh, if I don't get some sleep soon, I'm gonna be tired when I wake up, right?
Yes.
Have you ever felt that way?
Yeah, probably, through the last year, I'm sure everyone's had a few of those times,
Yeah, right?
Wondering what the next day is going to have, or the next few months. But I think we all have a lot to look forward to now, right?
Yes, we do. We
so
do.
What do you recommend? Do you have some tips for us?
I do. I took a sleep seminar recently and I learned some great tips. First of all, I didn't know this, but the temperature in your room should be between 60 and 67 degrees. So keep it cool. That will help you stay regulated all night long and help you feel really, really cool all night. You won't wake up, because sometimes don't we wake up when we get hot in the middle of the night, and that's when we awaken.
Or cold.
Or cold. Or cold.
Yeah.
So the other tip is no TVs or computers in the room. Sorry. The reason you don't want TVs or computers, do you know why?
Not
Something about the light.
It's the light that it emits. It will keep you awake. It will restart your brain, and that's how you end up
It's a stimulant, right?
Yep, it's a stimulant. The light's a stimulant.
As you can tell, I don't have a TV or a computer in my room.
And I don't either. I mean, that was purposeful when we put our bedroom together when we moved. We did not put any TVs in our room because it does keep you up. Okay. Another great thing are plants right back here. That'll give you more oxygen. Your bedding, like this bedding, the bedding should be very comfortable. You should definitely watch for sheets that are the non-wrinkle sheets, because they have chemicals in them, and you really don't want to be sleeping all night underneath a blanket of chemicals, do you?
No, you mean it's not naturally wrinkle-free?
No. I iron mine. I'm just like a maniac like that. I love to iron my sheets, but I love percale, cotton, 100% cotton, or organic cotton is also a beautiful fabric to sleep in.
So natural fabrics, breathable fabrics.
Natural breathable fabrics,
Good
right?
Tip. Good
And
tip.
then soft colors. It just does lend itself to a lot better sleeping situation. If the colors in your room and the colors on your bedding are nice and soft.
I never thought about that. That's a good one.
It is.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It is. The room should be dark. Okay, so you want the room to be dark, and the reason you want it dark is because it will kick off your circadian rhythm, and that will help you start the process of going to sleep. Did you know that?
No,
Yes.
and because I guess when the moon's full too, I think that
Yes.
throws people off.
It does. It
It's a
throws
full moon
me off.
tonight, yeah.
Yeah.
And it can wake you up, I think,
Especially
at
if
night
it's
too.
like coming
Right.
in the window really hard, yeah, it could throw off your whole circadian rhythm. The next thing is in the morning, wake up, go to your window, get some light, take your dog outside. Don't put sunglasses on, like get 10 minutes of that fresh light. And that actually will also start to release the serotonin and the melatonin, and that gets your whole day going and gets your energy going for the day.
So it keeps so that's going to regulate your cycle, kind of?
Yes.
So that your day is good. If your day is good, then your night's good.
Exactly.
Oh, there's a connection between that. Oh,
yes.
Awesome.
Yes. And at 12 noon, they say go out. Again, 10 more minutes of sunlight. It just helps keeping the hormones and everything like stable and balanced. You know, you'll notice that in the winter it's a little tougher sometimes, but it's really nice to just get out and feel that sunshine. Yeah. Another good thing to remember: replace your pillows every 3 years, because the pillows will create viruses to stick to them, and dust mites, and all of that is not good for you either. So a lot of people don't realize that their pillows should be replaced like every 3 years at the least, or put a zipper, like a cover on them, because that'll help protect them as well.
That's a great reminder.
Yep. Another thing is, if you can't sleep at night, there are some apps out there. One of my favorite one is the Calm app. Have you ever used the Calm app?
I have.
And I love the sleep stories. I mean, I start a sleep story and I'm out actually before they even get to about the 3rd or 4th line. But I love the Calm app.
Awesome.
I love Deepak Chopra. He's got a sleep meditation. If I wake up in the middle of the night, I can always use the sleep meditation.
Great tips.
And
I've had some clients that love Headspace too.
Okay, Headspace.
As
I haven't tried that
another
one.
app for calming meditations.
Yes.
Awesome.
Very
These
nice.
have been really great tips.
Excellent.
Thank you so
I
much
love all
for
these sleep tips.
Yes.
Thanks so much for joining us for this show. I hope that it has given you tips to de-stress, get better sleep, and tips to make your home a happier and healthier place.
Yeah, so we are very thankful to our guests today, Rachel and Michelle, and to Diane for really showing us some great sleep tips and having us have some fun here in our own makeshift kind of
fluffy cloud bedroom.
Yeah, like
so
cloud.
Sleep tight, everybody. Go to sleep. Sweet dreams.
Bye.